Blacks in technology.
Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology.
Welcome, everybody, to the 90th episode of the Blacks in Technology Bit Tech Talk. Yes, this is episode number 90. And this is Bit Tech Talk is a podcast. It's a show where we talk to people of color who are engineers, innovators, educators, inventors, and entrepreneurs doing amazing things in the world of technology. This podcast is where they share their experiences, ideas, knowledge, and perspective on tech with the Bit community. I'm your host, Greg Greenlee. If this is your first time listening, you can check us out at www.blacksintechnology.net. We are also on the Twitters, and that's at Black in Technology, BLKINTECHNOLOGY. We're also on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Blacks in Technology, and also on LinkedIn. We have a LinkedIn group. Just search for Blacks in Technology, and you will find us there. If you are on the Twitters and you're listening in and you have any questions for our guests, tweet them to us using the hashtag BitTechTalk, BITTECHTALK. As I said before, this is episode number 90. We are joined today by Camille Eddy. And this episode is called Conquering Engineering and Space, and we're going to get into that here in a second once we introduce our guests. So, Blacks in Technology, we are a tech-focused community and media organization. We're focused on increasing diversity in technology. We always focus on forming new partnerships and opportunities to assist our members with their continued professional growth and development. So if you want to partner with us, send us an email to contact us at blacksintechnology.net. Any general inquiries related to sponsorships or partnerships, like I said before, just send those as well to contact us at blacksintechnology.net. All right, what do we have next? We have some announcements. Self-conference coming up in Detroit in May 20 through the 21st. Self-conference is a mix of fantastic tech presentations and insightful soft talks in fabulous downtown Detroit. 2 whole days in the middle of May, or at the end of May, where they talk about mobile, web, hardware, software, process, and team talks to help you expand your knowledge, meet other technically minded folk, and immerse yourself in Detroit's tech renaissance. Last year, Blacks in Technology was there. We had a nice meetup. We also gave away tickets to the event. So we do have sponsored tickets. I think right now, only one or two of them have been given away. So we still have a few left. So if you're interested in attending Self-Conference, hit us up. I think there is a form online on our site that you can fill out if you are interested in receiving sponsored tickets to the event. Again, that's in Detroit, May 20th and 21st. Also, Closure West, that's coming up in April 15th and 16th, and that's happening in Seattle, Washington. Closure is a programming language, and if you're interested in that programming language in the conference, hit us up as well. Contact us at blacksintechnology.net. We do have sponsored passes for that as well. There will be a Blacks in Technology luncheon that's happening on Friday of those 2 days, I think on the 15th. So we will be represented well at Closure West. So if you are interested in attending and you need a conference ticket, hit us up. Check us out. A couple of jobs posted on the site. There is a need for a front-end designer at Sparkbox, and that's located in Dayton, Ohio. Check our website out for that. And an interaction developer at the company Gravity Tank, and that's located in Chicago, Illinois. So 2 great job postings up there. If you're interested, go to our website, check us out under the job postings, and go ahead and put in your application. A couple more things I want to mention. Slack. We are nearing about 400 people in our Slack channel. If you want to get an invite to our Slack channel, go to our site, do a search for Slack. I did an article on it some time back, and it has the invite link there. So do a search for Slack on our site, and you'll find the invite link. And just fill out a real short form, and you'll get your invite automatically. So again, we're we're at 386 people in our Slack channel, and it's very, very active. So if you want to be a part of that, be a part of the conversations that go on in Slack, definitely check our site out, do a search for Slack, and click on that link for the invite form. Startup of the week. This is something that we just recently started, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to focus on spotlighting and promoting tech-based startup companies that are founded by people of color or have people in color in top leadership positions. We've done 2 so far. Our startup of the week this week is Venue Center. They're an online portal that helps people quickly find venues for upcoming events. In a nutshell, they're the Expedia for event space, and they're our Blacks in Technology Startup of the Week. If you would like to have your startup, if you're part of a startup, if you are in an executive position or you are a founder of a startup, check us out. Go to Blacks in Technology and look at one of the previous Startup of the Week, and there is a form at the bottom of the article where you can submit your startup to be featured as Startup of the Week. So definitely check that out. We are trying to do this for an entire year, and we should, I believe anyhow, that we should at least have 52 minority-owned startups out there. So definitely check us out. We've done 2 so far, so we only need 50 more. So check us out on blackstechnology.net. Look at one of the previous startups of the week and click on the link to submit your startup. All right. I'm pretty excited about tonight's podcast because this is something that we actually haven't delved into. We usually do a lot of podcasts that has to do with information technology, and not necessarily it's not always like different parts of technology. It's mainly information technology. But tonight's episode is pretty special because we're going to be touching on engineering, mechanical engineering more specifically, and space. And joining us tonight is Camille Eddy. She is a mechanical engineering student at Boise State University. She's also an intern at HP. During her first year at Boise State, she helped plan and host a downlink with the International Space Station. We're going to talk about that. And where the astronauts talk with Boise State students from space. Pretty exciting. She also completed a NASA undergraduate research program as the leader of a student team who built the tool to help NASA plan their future manned missions to an asteroid. After building the tool at Boise State, the students traveled to NASA Johnson Space Center to test it. She's also involved in the Space Broncos student, a club that is focused on space education. Very, very exciting. And she serves on the leadership team. She drives efforts to help establish NSBE, that's the National Society of Black Engineers, chapter at her school. So I want to welcome Camille Eddy to the show. Hey, Camille.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, no, you're welcome. I'm definitely glad to have you on the show tonight. So I gave a little introduction, but I want you to tell everybody, give us a little bit about your background, where you're from, your education, things like that.
Sure. I was born in Tennessee, and after that, my family moved around a lot. But I've been here in Boise for about 8 years, and started in primary school. I was homeschooled, so I was homeschooled from first grade all the way up through high school, and then began my career. Yeah.
And then you began your career, I'm sorry.
Oh, began my career at Boise State University, started in mechanical engineering.
Excellent. So you say you're born and raised, or you are from around the Memphis area?
Yep.
And then you moved to, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was born on the base near Millington, and then my family was in Memphis.
Excellent. So how did you get into mechanical engineering? What was it that kind of sparked your interest to go into that curriculum?
Yeah. So one of the things we learned about when we were homeschooled was we had Black History Month, and we learned about Mae Jemison, who was the first African-American female astronaut for NASA. And after that, we also learned about Sally Ride, who was the first female astronaut for NASA. And I told my mom I wanted to be an astronaut, and I did some research. I was about 12 at the time, and I found out that to be an astronaut, you have to be an engineer, a scientist, or a doctor. And I had all these sketches and drawings of inventions that I would play with, so I decided that engineering would be best. And after that, we moved to Boise when I started my high school years. And the Boise State, they had a high school event to encourage high schoolers to get into engineering. And that's where I learned about all the different kinds of engineering there was. I had no idea that there was such a variety. And I chose mechanical engineering.
Excellent, excellent. So are your parents, were they involved in engineering in any way?
No. My mom has a business degree and a music degree. And my sister, she's in the culinary arts. So there wasn't really a lot of before experience in engineering. I had no idea what it was. Yeah.
So totally, so engineering totally opposite side of the spectrum for you, for your family, I guess.
Yeah, for my family, yes.
Wow. So you were homeschooled. So, one of my questions were you involved in STEM in high school, but apparently not if you got homeschooled. But what kind of advice would you give to other, people your age who are maybe in school and who may be on the fence about getting into engineering?
Well, there are lots of ways to get involved with STEM, even as a homeschool student. One of the awesome opportunities that I have here in Boise, there's an amazing STEM community here, and they put on some awesome programs like Engineering Camp, Engineering Day, and even a big day of open engineering experiments at Boise State. So one of the ways I encourage people to get involved is to go out to the community and find, those types of events to explore engineering. That was really important for me developing into a student that would eventually become a mechanical engineering student at Boise State, was being able to go out to those different programs. I participated in the Idaho Science and Aerospace Scholars as a junior in high school, and that was a program where we got to build a mission to Mars and go to NASA Ames Research Center, and actually fly down there, visit with NASA research scientists and engineers, and learn about their craft, and come back up here and apply it to a mission that we created and designed for Mars. So being able to be a part of those type of programs really did help me learn what I was interested in, what parts of STEM I liked, and how to get ready for being here as a student, as a college student. So one of the things I always encourage younger students is to explore as much as you can, explore all aspects of STEM, and go out to those programs and meet people and meet other students that have the same interest as you. And that really did encourage me when I was a high school student.
Very, very good advice. And one of the things that people run into is not knowing like how to first get started, right? And they might be interested, but they might not know what direction or what the first step is. And I think looking out into your community and even looking into what some of the local universities and what they're doing with STEM, maybe they have these high school programs where high schoolers can participate. That's definitely some good advice as to what a good first step is. Excellent. So what advice would you give to a student who has actually made the decision to get into engineering but may find the work involved difficult? Because I'm pretty sure it's kind of a shock on your system going from high school level type curriculum to jumping into engineering. There's a lot more science and math and things like that involved. So what type of advice would you give to those students?
Yeah, that was definitely something that I struggled with. when I first began in engineering, because my homeschool curriculum was very different. So I struggled with just, basic things like sitting in a lecture, having someone talk to me. And it was like, okay, this is new and different. And so it's all about perseverance and sticking to it. And if that's something you decide to do, realizing what I realized is that there are people who went before me and already did this. So all I need to do is be able to do the same thing that someone already did. It's proven work. It's not impossible. And I know I read something recently that said there are people of color who do go into engineering type degrees or, technical degrees. Sometimes they do face a barrier when they feel like they're underperforming. And I really do encourage anybody going through that kind of a struggle to not give up. It's not about, how you perform next to your peer as much as how you're going to perform the next day when, things are a struggle, but you got to get back up and try again until you get it. And for me, every day it's a perseverance battle, the choosing to do it till I get it right. And then when I do get it right, I earned that and I can be proud of that. And that's what propels me along because it's doable. It's absolutely something that you can attain.
Right, and great advice again. And I think that's always something that we as Black people, we kind of struggle with as far as, are we up to snuff, right? So we take, for instance, a lower grade as meaning that we're not up to snuff on the curriculum or whatever. But that's not, a lot of other cultures don't have that issue, right? So, I think it's important for people to know that, everybody struggles, right? It's not just you, it's not just, us, it's everybody. I took engineering in college and yeah, it was hard. I struggled, but so did, the person next to me. They struggled as well. And I think we need to get out of that mentality that if we struggle a little bit, that we're not up to snuff, that we're not good enough. Everybody struggles because engineering it's not a simple thing. If it was, simple, then nobody would struggle and everybody would get straight A's and things like that. There are some students out there that are better than some at some engineering, some of the science and math stuff. But for the most part, what I found is that a lot of people struggle. A lot of people needed help. And, the best thing to do is to either partner up with someone that can help, where you can help each other out, or simply ask a teacher, right? Ask them for help. That's what they're there for. They're there to help you pass the class. And so, I think, you definitely gave some good advice, but and I would also like to add on to that. It's like, don't think that it's just you. Everybody has these struggles. Engineering is a complex and can be difficult for people. So it's best to seek help if you need it.
Absolutely.
So Black kids face great challenges in their environment, either economically or socially. So what advice could you give to those students who are facing those type of economical and social challenges when it comes to, getting interested in engineering? So for instance, you'll have a student that may not be able to go to a camp, for instance, because, maybe the camp costs money or maybe they're struggling with it socially because it's not as accepted in their social circle. What type of advice could you give, those kids that may be facing those challenges?
Yeah, I have two ideas. Well, kind of going back to what you just said, asking for help is something that you can do in these situations. Any situation, before you get to college, when you're in college, go and be able to ask maybe a mentor, how to approach a situation, or asking for a scholarship. That's that's not wrong, and that's something that can actually help you, change the course of your life because you were able to participate in something that might be as empowering as a club. And then also finding what empowers you is super important. If you think that, getting to an engineering camp or doing a certain class is going to help you find your way, you need to do that. That's something you got to do for yourself. And so find a way to make that happen, whether you ask for help or you work to get the resources yourself. That's something that should be a goal and a must for you. And when you have that in your spirit and have that, in the pit of your stomach, and that's something that you just work on every day, you can accomplish it. And so what I encourage other students to do is to really have a goal and stick to it, and not worry what other people think. One of my favorite things that Mae Jemison said was that her youthful arrogance was what allowed her to accomplish different tasks and finish what she set her mind to. And I think maybe not necessarily disregarding all the risks, but not always, weighing them out so methodically kind of helps. I don't always try to look through every sort of problem to try to scare myself out of a decision. But I'll go out there and I'll put something out there and see what comes back. And being willing to do that, to try new things that haven't been tried before, either by your peers or your family, is something that yeah.
Right. I totally agree with that. As a matter of fact, I talked to a group of fourth graders today. A gentleman out of New Orleans. He runs I think it's a private school or a Catholic school, and the majority of his students are African American. And I told those kids, hey, be yourself when you're seeking these things, right? Like you don't have to change who you are. You don't have to stop hating sports. You don't have to stop hating music. Be who you are. Be comfortable with who you are, and just know that engineering is an option for you. And just because you like engineering doesn't mean you have to put aside any of your other likes or hobbies or anything like that. Be yourself, and don't worry about what your friends or your peers have to say, because while they're mocking you or whatever right now, later on down the line they'll be wondering how they could get into engineering after the fact. And I told them, I said, hey, LeBron James is worth $200 and something million right now. That's a lot of money. I said Bill Gates is worth over $40-something billion. That's a lot more money. So, being an engineer pays off. If you put the time, you put the work, you put the effort into it. It's not all about money, but I was trying to make the comparison to simply say, it's not, you don't have to just do this because you think it's going to bring you wealth. Engineering can do those same things for you. So I totally agree with you in that aspect of, empower yourself, go out there and get it, be yourself. Don't let anybody deter you. Don't let anybody tell you you can't be an engineer. Excellent.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So how is your family? How have they supported you in your journey to being an engineer?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my mom was the one who found out about Boise State. She was the one that found out about the high school program. It was like a high school orientation night where they brought in high school students to encourage them to go to engineering. And I was a pretty shy, ninth grader at the time. And I didn't like to go out, and meet new people and talk to people. And she's like, nope, we're going to go and you're going to meet some people. And that night we met former astronaut Robert Morgan. We met the dean of the College of Engineering, and then also a few other people who supported students in engineering that work at the College of Engineering at Boise State. And it was such a fruitful night. I mean, that's where I started learning about the variety of engineering degrees, where I started learning about the NASA programs at Boise State. And And so that was her. She was there. She drove me because she knew that I wanted to be an engineer, but I had been holding on to this wish for about 2 years. And so she's like, okay, we're going to go and find out some more about it. And then President Obama actually visited Boise State University, and I was given the honor of introducing him to the crowd. And she was there. I was able to have her come into the VIP section, and I remember walking on stage to introduce him, and walking to the podium, and I was able to make eye contact with her. And I was like, okay, I'm grounded. I'm ready to go. Let's do this. And so she has been there. Yeah, she has been there every step of the way. And then, you know, I never once doubted that I could get an engineering degree, because nobody in my family ever said that. They said, okay, what do we have to do? And when it came time, like my junior year in high school, I was taking more direction in my education, like telling my mom, okay, Mom, I got to be calculus ready by the time I get to college, because, you know, that's the first class I have to take as a mechanical engineering student. She's like, okay, like, so what classes do we need to get you in? Do we need to get you into some online classes to help you get more prepared for when you go? So definitely a very supportive family.
That's very cool, and that's good to hear. I mean, you need that support in some form or another. You know, whether that's your family or whether you know you have a strong mentor in your life, they can guide and steer you in that direction. I think some people, they tend to you know, steer away from engineering simply because they don't have that support system. It's one of the reasons why I started Blacks in Technology, because, you know, I didn't want people to feel like they didn't have support somehow, right? And I've had people within the community say, hey, you know, I thought about getting out of technology altogether until I found your site. You know, it gives them inspiration to see other people who look like them, you know, doing, you know, in these technology fields every day. So that support is very, very powerful and can have a huge impact.
Absolutely.
So you're in your first year at Boise State, and you helped plan and hosted downlink with the International Space Station. Were you able to talk to astronauts from space? How'd that whole thing come about? And you know, how'd you make that happen?
Yeah. So it wasn't just me; it was a whole team of people. I was invited by Barbara Morgan, who was the former astronaut that I met that very first night I went to Boise State as a high school student. And I had continued to attend those high school events. So by the time I reached my senior year in high school, the dean of the College of Engineering knew me and my family. Barbara Morgan knew me and my family by name. They would recognize us when we pop up and say, hey, how are you? We're glad you're here. So by the time I got to my first year at Boise State, I had built up a network. And they knew I was on campus. They knew that I had an interest in space. They knew I had an interest in NASA. So I got an email from Barbara Morgan that first semester. And she was asking me if I would like to be on a student panel for NASA to help bring Steve Swanson to Boise State. And Steve Swanson was an astronaut friend of Barbara's. He was about to go up to the International Space Station and become the commander of the International Space Station for a few months. And so we were trying to figure out a way to engage our Boise State community with NASA in a big, big way. So we decided to put together a space symposium where we invited the people in our community that had contact with NASA, that research with NASA, did work like that, to come and speak. And in the middle of that, we hosted a downlink with the International Space Station. And this was with a team of about, I would like to say, about 10 other students who were from all different majors or colleges within Boise State. So there was representatives from the College of Engineering, obviously, but then also the College of Arts and Sciences and the College of Health Sciences. You know, all the colleges at Boise State were represented because we wanted to share a diverse student population that all had an interest in space. And so we worked together. It was about 2 semesters long. I was actually able to write some educational scripts for NASA to take up to space to conduct some educational science experiments, and we were able to send this out and send this whole idea of a space symposium out to the community and bring everyone over. The news crews came down to come check it out, and we had downlink, and it was just an awe-inspiring moment, to have astronauts talking to us from space at Boise State University, and so it was a team effort, and it took a lot of us. But we made some really awesome connections. Steve Swanson eventually became a distinguished educator in residence at Boise State, so he's now the mentor for the space Broncos. He retired from NASA and came to work at Boise State. So, it was a great day to make connections and to be a part of the NASA community for that brief moment.
Wow, that sounds pretty exciting. So, I mean, what was that? How did you feel when you helped to make that all come together, and you're actually talking to people who are in outer space, who are at the International Space Station? How did that make you feel?
Well, definitely proud to be and honored, right, to be chosen as a student representative of Boise State. And I think for me, usually moments like this do something a little different for me too. They'll inspire me to lead and says, okay, this is what I did, so how can I get other students involved? And that's eventually what did take place, getting other students involved to do the same thing.
Very, very cool. I applaud your efforts. I mean, that had to be a massive undertaking for one, and to get other students to be interested in something like that is another undertaking. So kudos to you for doing that. That's excellent. So what is the NASA undergraduate research program, and how did you get involved in that?
Sure. So the NASA, there's several different NASA undergraduate research programs. The one I was a part of was called Microgravity University. And that is a unique program that it was another one of those things I got introduced to my very first time at Boise State when I went to that high school orientation party. There was a group from the Microgravity University team that presented about their research and how they actually got to go up into the plane, into the weightless wonder, and fly around in microgravity and conduct research for NASA. And I was like, okay, that's NASA. That's really cool. I got to do that. So I learned about that my ninth grade in high school, and I was waiting all the way up to basically my second year at Boise State. And they put out a call for another microgravity team. And I rushed when I read the email, I was sitting in the cafeteria and I read the email, and I was like, oh my goodness, they're starting it again. And I rushed to Barbara Morgan's office. She was like, did you see the email? They're opening up microgravity. And she said, yes, that's awesome, and I'd like you to be the team leader for this team. And so, that was a big undertaking in itself. It was a huge, huge project, but we ended up with 9 members of the team. We conducted an interview to get the best and the brightest of Boise State's minds, and we put together a proposal. It was like a 47-page proposal on what we wanted to build for NASA. And NASA wanted us to take care of a real engineering problem. They are looking to go send an astronaut or two to an asteroid and to land and collect samples. And so they need a tool specifically designed to collect samples off an asteroid. So we came up with an idea and prototyped it and talked about it, and then we wrote a 47-page proposal to send to NASA just to get into the program. And they accepted it, and then after that we had 2 more major technical proposals, or not proposals, but documents that we had to write, all about the same length, about what the tool would be, how it would work, how it would be safe, and then we actually had to build the tool. And we built it at Boise State. And we called it the Zoidberg, if you catch that reference, and we had a whole acronym for that. And and so we built it, and then we got our mentors to sign off. That was another place where we worked with faculty at Boise State College of Engineering that gave us design tips and engineering tips. We worked with people in the machine shop because we built it, but, we had some experts there to help us, build it right. And then, of course, we worked with Barbara Morgan on, creating an official, NASA-type document. And she really did help us on learning how to communicate our designs and our plans in a way that could be understood, and then also that just, really tossed the went to as well as it could be as far as being a technical document. So none of us had that experience. And then we also were able to raise funds. We wrote a $10,000 grant that we actually got approved by the Idaho Space Grant Consortium. So a lot of amazing, amazing milestones were reached by that program. And there's a whole slew of outreach activities that we did. We went out to schools and demonstrated different techniques about building a tool and how to go through the process. We led kids in workshops about building their own tools that would pick up samples. And so a lot of work went into STEM education as well, and it was a really great way to get some experience, not just with working with NASA, but also with working with the community and networking.
Wow. So was this during while school was in session, or was this during the summer?
Oh, I wish it was during the summer, but no, it was during spring semester of 2015. And this was a condensed semester for us because usually a microgravity team has about a year to complete the project, but we had one semester.
Right.
They opened it up in late December. So
right.
we even had a smaller window than most microgravity teams, and it was a lot of work during that semester.
So what you're telling me is that the student body there at Boise State has found a way to clone humans. Because how do you do all this stuff and still happen to keep up with all your regular schoolwork and
right.
All your activities with the community, and then you have to do this 47-page proposal. You have to build it. You have to prototype it. How did you get all this accomplished?
Lots of passion and a little lack of sleep, but then also teamwork. I mean, we had a great team that worked really well together. We could work together when there was stress. We could work together when it was good and we were feeling okay. But we had a really, really well working team. We worked really well together. So we were able to fill in those different holes. We were able to trade off shifts. And when it came time to actually submitting the proposal, we had been in the same building for 3 days straight. We didn't go home. We slept in the building. And we would take turns sleeping to get through the night and get through the day, because we'd have to leave, go to class, and then come back to write some more. But, we really did lean on each other, and we had a passion to, be a part of this team that had a great legacy at Boise State, a great run, and we wanted to, be one of the best teams that they had so far. And so that was our passion, and we just kind of leaned on each other and got it done.
Wow. Passion, dedication, inspiration. Those are the intangibles that that make you great. I always tell people, anytime I give I speak to a class and I tell the students hey, you can get into this just for the money if you want to be. If you want to, but if you really want to make an impact and you really want to be great at what you do, you gotta have passion. You gotta have dedication, because this is a constant learning cycle. And that's what technology is, because technology changes all the time, and you have to be ready for that. It's either you have to be ready for it, or you'll be left behind. So it's good to hear somebody who has that passion, that dedication, who can suffer through sleepless nights and uh, and being confined in the same room in the same building with a few other people for days in order to get something accomplished, because sometimes that's what it takes, and people who go through that, they understand that it's that much greater when you succeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how can others learn about the NASA undergraduate research program?
Yes. So
is there a website or?
Yes,
there is.
There's a website at microgravity.jsc.nasa.gov. And if you just type in Microgravity University in Google, you should be able to find it. But there is an amazing team that puts together this program. And I love being able to work with them and go to NASA and visit with them. An amazing team that are really passionate about giving students like us an opportunity to get the experience of working with NASA. So I would definitely suggest that Microgravity is open to any university within the United States. So it's definitely something to be a part of.
Excellent. I will tweet that out because people need to know about this.
Yeah.
Excellent. So what was the experience like traveling to the NASA Johnson Space Center? Like anytime I see anything like online or on TV about NASA, it looks like if I were a kid, I'd be like a kid in a candy shop, just looking at all the technology there. So what was it like for you?
Oh, man, may I say it was epic. I mean, it was also much bigger and grander than I thought it was. When you see pictures, you see parts of NASA, see little parts of the buildings and the labs. Walking into the Neutral Buoyancy Lab, which is they have about 2 million gallons of water, and that's what simulates microgravity. I mean, just the whole building itself is expansive to be able to hold this big pool, which, by the way, they have a whole mock-up of the International Space Station in the bottom of this pool. That's how big this pool is. Like, the entire International Space Station is sitting in the bottom of this pool, and that's where astronauts train. And so walking into that building, it's just so big, and you learn things. Like, the building is actually called the Sony Carter Building, and I didn't know that. And but then also we had an amazing mentor. Her name was Jessica, and she actually works in mission control, like the live mission control. And after we had done some testing, she actually took us over to the other side, the NASA Johnson Space Center, and we got to walk in to the original Apollo mission control, and just being in that place. Yeah, being in that place of history. I mean, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And he took some pictures, and I was like, man, I have to come back one day, right? And then she also took us to the live mission control, and we got to meet the mission controller. And it was funny because Barbara was a former astronaut. Everybody knew her. And you're like, oh, hey, Barbara. Hey, Barbara. And it was like we're walking with a celebrity. It was really fun. But, to be able to meet those people, we went to a party. And, of course, a party at NASA involves a rocket. So they had a full rocket, I'm not sure what it was. It could have been a Saturn V on its side. And they were just, having cake and and just having this party celebrating the 50 years of spacewalking at NASA. So being in that culture where they live it every day and to be able to experience it just for a few days, working with the scientists and the divers who tested our tool with us, standing in front of the safety committee, we had to present our tool in front of a safety committee of about 10 to 15 safety engineers, astronauts, and safety experts, and being treated like we were, a part of the engineering culture at NASA and going through the same rigorous steps that those other engineers have to go through to get a tool approved to test. That was just really, it was an honor, even though it was hard work. I mean, we spent many hours on those proposals, but we also spent many hours on our presentations to NASA. So even though it was really hard work, it was an honor to be treated, like a NASA engineer and to kind of get that experience of engineering culture.
And what a boost in confidence that had to give you and your team to have that experience, right? For NASA to treat you all exactly how they would their own engineers. I mean, that has to validate, all the hard work and validate, what your journey has been up to that point. You have to say to yourself, like, hey, I'm doing the right thing, right?
Absolutely. I mean, and it kind of goes back to, being scared to be an underperformer in engineering degree. Well, I found my passion. I found what empowers me. Leading a group, being a part of student teams, and doing this kind of engineering research, that's something that I can really lean into. And then doing well at it overscores any, bad grade or, lack of confidence in the classroom, because I know I have talent. And that just, it drives me forward every day.
That's excellent. Just to reiterate that point that you made, like, your grades might not be all A's across the board, but you know that you belong, right? And there's other ways that you can exhibit that. And I think you've done that, so you've led groups, you helped, your group put together this monstrous proposal. So, the best thing that, to come out of all this is don't get discouraged. This, eventually it'll work out to where, you're going to be successful in what you do if you put in that work and you put in that effort. Eventually you're gonna experience some of that success. So that's great to hear. Let's talk about the Space Broncos. Tell our audience, what the Space Broncos is and how you got involved.
Absolutely. So the Space Broncos dates back to that Dowling International Space Station. It was a term that was loosely coined for any Boise State student that had an interest in space. And I was able to put this together with Barbara Morgan and a wonderful lady named Leanne. And what I did was, after that International Downlink, I actually got it chartered as an official student organization at Boise State. So I was able to found the Space Broncos Club because I wanted a way for us to continue that effort and keep in the same spirit of inviting anyone who had an interest in space to be a part, not based on whether you're a scientist or an engineer, but if you had any interest in whatever major you were, that you could get involved and be a part of the engineering and space culture, and really just, being connected to NASA. You don't have to be an engineer to be connected to NASA. And I wanted to continue that effort. And so our idea, our model, is create really big social events that educate the public about space and help them to get involved and to learn more and to think that it's fun and maybe to, eventually come to Boise State as their high school student, right? So that was the idea, and it's grown. We started with about 7 students earlier last year, and within one group meeting, we grew to like 30, and we've been growing ever since. So there's a strong interest, and I'm pretty proud of them. They've done some awesome things up to this point.
Very, very cool. And so what are some of the Space Broncos' top initiatives this year? Like, what are some of the things you all are going to be doing?
I'm glad you asked. So, we put together, we had the idea of creating virtual reality experiences this year. Virtual reality is something new. Well, not completely new, right? But it's something that's booming. There's a lot of new interest in it. And we decided that we wanted to take it on. And we've actually put together a team within the Space Broncos who's created their own unique virtual reality experiences. They started with the Space Museum, where you can walk around and look at different CGI models of NASA spacecraft. They got those models from NASA. They put it in an own environment that they created. You're almost like walking on a spaceship in Voyager. I'm super proud of them. They did a really great job on the visuals. And then it teaches you something as well. You can walk up and you can learn something about those different spacecraft. And right now they're working on a Mars surface demo. And we're actually going to have the opportunity next month to have people be a part of a fly system while they're in the virtual reality experience and actually be lifted off the ground just a little bit and kind of feel what it's like to have about, reduced gravity while you're experiencing it. So they'll have about like 1/3 gravity on them, and they'll actually be lifted up a little bit so that it feels like they're, well, not floating, but, reduced gravity, and they'll be in the virtual reality experience and be able to experience what it might be like on Mars. And so that's what we call immersive virtual reality experience, and I'm super proud that they could take it to that level. So we've actually started a GoFundMe campaign to help raise funds for the harness and then the other types of equipment that we'll need. And they're just doing a really great job. Yeah. And
what do you have, like, the URL for that GoFundMe?
Yes. So it's GoFundMe.com/SpaceBroncos. So very simple. And we would really appreciate anybody sharing it out. And we've been able to put together some really cool things. And this event that we're actually doing this for is for high schoolers who are going to visit Boise State with their families, and they're going to come check out and see what Boise State has to offer. And so this is one way that we can invite high school students, a lot like I did when I came to Boise State as a high school student, invite them to get interested in space and get interested in virtual reality and get interested in what we're doing in space exploration. So that's kind of the idea behind this event. And we're expecting thousands of high school students and their families to come through, and so it's going to be an incredible event.
Excellent. I'm going to tweet that out right now. So GoFundMe.com/SpaceBroncos.
Yes, thank you.
All right, let me make sure that this is, that I'm typing this in right.
Okay. Yeah, no, we're really excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is that you in the video?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes,
very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Tweeting now. Very cool.
Oh, thank you.
So, no problem. You're definitely welcome. This is very cool to hear. That this much stuff is going on with you and the students at Boise State. I normally talk to technology professionals who are like out in the workplace and things like that. But now I'm talking to who I consider an engineering professional, even though you're still a student. You've done some pretty remarkable things, and just hearing it from how passionate and happy you sound with doing some of these things is inspiring. So, thank you for this. So, you've been involved in trying to get a NSBE chapter started at your school. For those who don't know what NSBE stands for, it's the National Society for Black Engineers. How is that whole thing going?
Well, we made some progress. We were able to get an amazing Black faculty member named Quinn. At Boise State, there isn't a whole lot of Black students, and so we actually make up less than 1% of the student population. And so we've been working on being able to recruit Black students, especially Black students in engineering, because there aren't that many. And so it's an ongoing effort, and we definitely need support, the support of our community and the support of even like the national community of NSBE. And but Boise State in itself has been doing really well as far as reaching out to people of color and having places for us to go and to connect with each other. They started a diversity STEM Institute, and with Donald Llewellyn as the director, and they've been doing a great job over there as well for the issues of diversity. But as far as NSBE, we're still working on it. We actually are working to get our official charter. because we have to have 10 students, and that's something we've been struggling with. So, yeah. But we're working on it.
Excellent. Well, good luck with that. Sounds like you're making some headway on that, and hopefully you'll that'll work out the same way as all the other things that you've been involved with. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely good luck.
Thank you.
So what's next? What's next for you?
Sure. There are a couple of things. I mean, there immediately in a week or so, I'll be headed to San Francisco to do a pitch for the Hope Prize. And the Hope Prize is a competition to win $1 million to start a social impact company. So we're pitching the use of a $5 computer to create a unique crowdsourcing opportunity for those who live in urban crowded areas. So we've been working really hard on that, and we've been getting some awesome connections and working with different people and different organizations to get ready to pitch. It's just 6 minutes, but it's been 6 minutes that's taken a lot of work, and so we're excited to go. This is actually an engineering team that's going. I am going with 2 other computer science majors, and so we're going to have some fun, but hopefully learn a lot as well. So that's kind of exciting. And then in the summer, I will be back into the San Francisco area. HP, I'm an intern at HP right now, mechanical engineering intern, and they asked me to actually intern at Palo Alto next summer. So I'll be at HP headquarters next summer as a machine learning intern, and I'm really excited to work with them down there in that exciting atmosphere of tech. And so if anyone's down there, I would love to catch up and hang out.
You know what? I'm going to and just because I'm listening, I'm trying to type at the same time. What you're going out to San Francisco when? Next week?
Next week, yes. March 11th or March 10th through the 12th. Yeah.
March when again? I'm sorry.
March 10, 11, and 12.
Okay. 12. And you'll be part of a pitch competition to do what again?
So it's an international pitch competition to pitch an idea for a social impact company. And we're pitching for $1 million. And our idea is to use a $5 computer to provide a unique crowd outsourcing tool or resource for people who live in urban crowded areas. The idea is to double the income of 10 million people by 2022. So that's what we're working for.
Okay, excellent. So I'm going to tweet this that you'll be out in San Francisco to a really good friend of mine. Her name is Iori. She is a technology engineer working at Salesforce right now, and she's fabulous. And I'm gonna tweet her to check you out and let her know that you'll be in San Francisco next week, pitching an idea for a social impact company. She's involved in a lot of great things, and I definitely think you two should meet if you're able to. So I'm going to tweet her, and then she might contact you and reach out to you, especially after she hears tonight's podcast. So be on the lookout for her to respond.
Okay, I will. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So we're at the end of the podcast, but I do want to ask you a couple of things. What is your favorite? Because I know what my favorite movie is right now involving space. But what's your favorite movie involving space out there?
Oh, for a second there, you caught me off guard. For a second, I was going to say The Martian, but I really did like Interstellar. Interstellar was awesome.
Yes.
I just love the whole. I love the music and I love the story and how it connected and everything. They did a really great job with that one.
Right, and I have to second you on both, liking the movie and the music. Hans Zimmer is the guy who does the music for Interstellar, and
Yes.
he is amazing, right? For one, if people haven't seen Interstellar, you need to go check it out. It's another Chris Nolan movie. Chris Nolan is a genius when it comes to making movies,
Yes.
and he always seems to get Hans Zimmer to be a composer to do all his soundtracks. He did it for the Batman trilogy. He did it for Inception. He did it for The Prestige. He did it for like a number, but Hans Zimmer is a well-known composer. He does a lot of soundtracks for a lot of different movies. But, the Interstellar, it's funny, I actually work out to the Interstellar soundtrack sometimes.
Great.
Because, because there's a couple of parts of the movie. The one where they land on the planet that's all water, and they're about to experience that wave. I love the whole the score for that whole part, and then I love the score when he is going after the spaceship trying to dock because Dr. Mann has just done something to blow up the part of the ship, and then he's going to dock. So that whole scene right there, I love the music for that part. But yeah, Hans Zimmer, Interstellar, I did like The Martian, but Interstellar is by far my favorite. I'll watch it probably, I don't know, once a week. I'll turn it on and of course I know like every scene front and backwards, but I love the movie so much that I find myself watching it at least once a week. It actually got me interested in learning about like higher dimensions as well. And I'm reading a book right now called Hyperspace. I don't know if you've ever heard of that book, but it's a very interesting book, and it talks about different dimensions, and it talks about people like Riemann and Einstein and how they how their theories led to not, I wouldn't say the discovery, but led to these theories about higher dimensions. And they go through and they talk about the different forces being, gravitational force, weak nuclear, strong nuclear, and electromagnetic, and how these forces are forces that we can't explain, but in higher dimensions, they all are simplified. And this book is deep, and it's written by a theoretical physicist. What's his name? Miku. I can't pronounce it. I'm gonna. It's in my Google Playbook selection, so I'm gonna go back to it. And what is his name? His name is Mikio Kaku. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But he is a theoretical physicist, a well-known theoretical physicist, and he has a book called Hyperspace: A Scientific Odyssey Through Parallel Universes, Time Warps, and the 10th Dimension. So the movie Interstellar, took me down that entire path, and now I'm reading books about this stuff. So, I love Interstellar.
I know space is inspiring.
Right. Well, Camille, I want to thank you for coming on to the show tonight. I definitely had a great time listening and learning about you and about the things that you're involved in, and I definitely wish you luck and success in everything that you do, and hopefully, we can connect back up in a little bit and get you back on the show and find out, some of the cool things that you've been doing.
Absolutely. I had an awesome time tonight as well, and I thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And like I said, I hopefully Ayuri, hopefully she contacts you, and hopefully people respond to that the GoFundMe campaign, and they help out there as well. So good luck.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
You too.
So that is it for tonight's Bit Tech Talk podcast. I want to thank our guest, Camille Eddy. If you like what you heard tonight, you want to let us know. If you have any suggestions or comments, email them to us at contactus@blacksintechnology.net. And join us in 2 weeks. We will have Anise Davis. She is an Android development manager for the Washington Post, and she specializes in Android development. That podcast is going to be entitled Crushing Code at the Washington Post. So join us in 2 weeks. And remember, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Take care and have a good night.
Blacks in Technology.
Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology.